What's up everyone, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. We're here about to review some beginner skimboarding tutorials that people have done out on the YouTube. If you're a beginner skimboarder or you're trying to get into the sport and you're going for the first time, people have done tutorials on YouTube for you guys to watch, and I'm just gonna review Ryan here. The title of the video is Skimboarding for Beginners.
Well, today's the day we're going to learn how to skimboard for them beginners out there.
For them beginners. Pretty good skimboard right there that he's got. It's called a wave action. And it's a nice colored orange with some chippings along the paint with zero wax. First, you don't want a board like this when you're starting out or trying to get into the sport. You want to get a fiberglass skimboard and definitely put some wax on it. You want to hold it at the bottom right hand corner, and then you want to hold it at the top left, but if you're goofy you want to do it vice versa, so top right and then bottom left. So he's gonna tell us the timing of the waves, so when to drop your board and go for a wave.
Right about now. And I'll show you how to throw the board down. So you're holding it in the correct way, and this is how you're going to throw the board down. That's the video. Throw it down like this one first.
No way. You literally just told those people to get out of the video. That is hilarious. Okay, I literally watched like 10 seconds of this video. Look, he literally, then the guy literally just walks in front of him. Back to the timing, you want to go, he was pretty right. A wave crashes on shore, it washes up water, and then right when it's retrieving, that's when you want to go. But you don't want to go when all the water is washing in. You want to go when the water washes in and there's wet sand, and then you slide on the wet sand. A lot of people go when the water comes up to the shore, and then as the water's moving back down, they drop their board on that thick layer of water as it's rushing back, and then you basically just sink and barely get any speed going down the slope. You get the most speed by running fast and sliding along wet sand. So you want to go right when all that thick layer of water rushes back to shore, and then there's just that like very thin layer of water that makes the sand all wet. If you are first starting out and you do not know what a skimboard feels like, I'd recommend just going on the dry sand and practicing your drop. You want to get on your board with your back foot and then front foot first. When you do get onto the board, make sure you're bending your knees in a good balanced position. A lot of people stand straight up, and that's just not a good way to ride a skimboard. When you're sliding on the wet sand, you want to be leaning a little bit on your back foot, but not too much, just because if you're leaning too far forward, you're not going to get that control, and you can start rotating without your back foot being compressed into the sand.
I want to throw your board this way. You're going to throw this part down first, and then this part, but very slightly. Like not even a tenth of a second later.
Not even a tenth of a second later.
That is how I'm going to throw the board down. See how I hit this bottom first before this? And this end of the board doesn't even hit the bottom of the board.
He's pretty right. You just want to, the goal is to throw your board down as flat as possible. If you are skimming on the East Coast or on a very flat beach, then throwing your board sideways along the side of the beach is fine. What I would recommend is just going straight, because if you are throwing your board sideways, you can easily rotate and things can go wrong. And when you start to reach the water, lean back so you're able to go on top of the water, but please don't ride a woody. It's definitely not going to be helpful, and I need a pair of those shades because those things are awesome.
12 in the morning, pop shells for when the...
If your board is bendy, that's the better part about it. If your board is like that, it's like maybe half an inch between.
If your board is bendy, he's talking about rocker. Ooh, okay. So first things first, on his drop and riding on the skimboard, there's a little things that he did wrong. He was very straight-legged and his feet weren't spread out far enough. And right when he was about to get on top of the water, he wasn't leaning far back enough. Right when you're on top of the water, transition your weight to the middle of the board, because if you're on top of the water and you're leaning too far back, then all your speed's just gonna get wiped out. Here's another example. Yeah, he needs to bend his legs for sure.
You notice that when I'm on my board and I'm swinging my arms like this, I'm trying to turn the board.
Okay, so he's trying to turn the board by swinging his arms, and that's exactly what you're not supposed to do. You don't want to be swinging your arms to turn. That is not good. That is not a good idea. You want to be bending your knees. The way you're going to be turning is grabbing the sand. So when you're skimboarding along the beach, you put your hand in the sand and stay in a squatted position, and that's going to have you rotate into like a 360. It's a good like beginner trick to do. If you find yourself rotating just like how Ryan did, it's because you're not bending your knees and you're not pushing enough weight on your back foot. His feet are very close together. He's not bending his knees. He's not putting pressure on the back foot. That's why he's spinning around and not going straight.
That's how you skimboard for beginners. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.
Okay, this guy's a legend. The longer you're riding on the sand, the less you're going to be able to go further out when you get on top of the water. If you're struggling and getting far out to waves, you need to be running faster. You need to be transitioning from sand to water in a fluent way. Right when you get on top of the water, you want to shift your weight into the middle of the board instead of all the way back, because if you do that, like I said, you're just going to lose all your speed. You don't want to be sliding on the sand for a long period of time. You want to drop your board in a good place where you can get your feet set just in time to get on top of the water. You don't want to drop it too late, because then it can result in wiping out. So all in all, if you are first starting out, you want to do a couple practice runs on the dry sand, just because you don't want to get ahead of yourself in the sport of skimboarding. It is pretty difficult to do the sport starting out. You don't want to get hurt sliding on the wet sand, plus the wet sand is harder to ride on than the dry sand. Once you do a couple practice runs, then you can move on to the wet sand. Make sure you're balanced, bend your knees, keep weight on your back foot, but don't lean too far back, because then you'll wipe out. Make sure you're dropping your board flat. Then after that, then it's just all repetition, and then you just gotta keep practicing. I'd like to thank Ryan. This guy's a legend, and for his age, it's not a bad tutorial. I love the part when he was like, get out of the video. That's about it, guys. Thanks for watching. Good luck to you if you're first starting out skimboarding and you're going for the first time. If you have any questions, shoot a comment down below, leave a like on the video, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel. See you guys in the next video.